You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we all went through it last night, did we not? I put up a game reaction. Holy smokes, that video is blowing into the atmosphere right now because we literally witnessed two things. We witnessed Caitlin Clark once again cementing herself as the demon of the WNBA, flashes of 2024 and Iowa last night, while literally trying to pull the entire team along on her back because of an awful head coach named Stephanie White. And let's be real. We got another issue with this team. Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell somewhat are connected at the hip now. Because I said, way back in the offseason, if you give Stephanie White truth serum, I believe she would tell you Kelsey Mitchell's the best player on this team. And I think this team is built as such, frankly. Well, she didn't come up big last night. Also, by the way, isn't Stephanie White supposed to be this great defensive guru? That is her strength. Let's start here. Let's start here before we get to... Guys, I got two videos, both on the fallout of last night. We'll get to fan reaction in the next video. Because holy shit, Indiana Fever fans, hey, some of y'all were a little late to the party on Stephanie White. Woo! You showed up. You showed it. Congratulations. The truth will set you free. You showed up last night because you started to see what some of us saw last year during the playoff run, and I was like, this is not it. Sonia Cintron, Kiki Arifin, Cintron, 30 points, career high. Kiki Arifin, 25 points, career high. 10 of 14, 11 of 17. Congratulations, Stephanie White, the defensive guru to end all defensive gurus in the WNBA. You had two players go for career highs against you. Wow. And guys, we're going to get to Stephanie White and her statement from the press conference last night, some statements she made about Kelsey Mitchell, and some video that Venom has done. Venom Reacts, go subscribe, on the differences in reaction Stephanie White has to Kelsey Mitchell versus Caitlin Clark. It's pretty eye-opening. Just saying. If you and guys, there's indications. We've talked about on this channel. Have you noticed how much they're promoting Kelsey Mitchell on the Indiana Fever socials and not Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark literally went 48 hours the other day. No post. She's the biggest star in the league. I would have her face. Those puppy videos, those players be playing with that puppy, and Caitlin Clark would pop in and say hi on every one of them. And she'd be snipped in the thumbnail. I put this up late last night. Pacers leadership, ownership, which also happens to own the Indiana Fever, should be having conversations about the Fever coaching situation tonight. This should be a wake-up call. This isn't working. If Caitlin doesn't go out bonkers, they run the Fever out tonight. If she doesn't turn into a demon last night in the fourth quarter, they lose by like 16 points. They get blown out at home. It took an all-time performance to get them back in that game. And they still ultimately lost. And by the way, the fact that Stephanie White had Kelsey Mitchell take the last shot is effing felony criminal. You had Kelsey. Caitlin Clark just torched Washington in the fourth quarter on threes. You had Kelsey put up the last shot. That might be fireable by itself. My boy CDS, a real organization would fire Stephanie White. The Phillies fired their manager after a 9-19 start because expectations of World Series. White is not a good coach despite the Slurp FC simping. She's anti-Caitlin Clark and change must happen. This guy points out that Paul Westhead actually did win an NBA championship, and a little over a year later, he was fired. Now, I put this up. Local media looking at you, paying attention to you, covering the Fever. If you are not crushing Stephanie White, you are failing at your job, and you are failing the fans and the viewers. If you are not going to do that, you're not going to cover this like it's a big girl or a big boy sport. They're getting paid real money now. The gloves have come off. If this was any other sport, local media would destroy a team for a game like tonight. Let's see if the Fever media step up to the big leagues after tonight. You have been put on notice. Do your job. Wow. So, this came from last night. Post press conference. Stephanie White is asked about Caitlin Clark, specifically about her impact. Stephanie White just couldn't do it. She could not give Caitlin Clark credit. She immediately deflected to the entire team. And I'm going to show you in a minute why this is significant.
Yeah, Steph, what did you think of the rally that your team had in the fourth quarter, particularly when it comes to Caitlin? I think she made 5 threes in that fourth quarter, more than her first 2 games combined. So just your thoughts on the resilience from her.
I thought our whole group showed resilience, in that rally. We showed the ability to make tough shots. We had some really good time and score execution moments, offensively and defensively, in those moments. We just have to have more of it consistently.
No offense, Caitlin Clark's the only one that showed up in the fourth quarter. I mean, she could not directly give Caitlin Clark credit for some reason. Now, essentially the same question about Kelsey Mitchell.
Start, I guess, with Kelsey Mitchell and what she did today. I mean, it was something else.
It's speechless, really. She was 0 for 7 in the first half and 4 points, and just put us on her back. Made big shot after big shot, big play after big play. She didn't settle. She stayed aggressive, and she willed us.
Start, I guess, with
Unbelievable. The difference in that answer between Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell is jaw-dropping. She could not glaze Kelsey Mitchell enough. Now, I believe this was from last year, but regardless, same question. And she was real quick to wrap her loving arms around Kelsey Mitchell. But she will not do it with Caitlin Clark. I suspect there's things about Kelsey Mitchell we maybe don't know. An agenda is at work there. And we just don't know it. It's not made public. Venom, pointing out the different reaction between Stephanie White when it comes to Caitlin Clark, tying a game to go to overtime, or Kelsey Mitchell's shot in OT. Make it make sense. All right, Venom.
Proper actions. This is the most poorly ran franchise I've ever seen in any league, and I've seen a lot, especially in the NBA. Let's move on though, chat. CC takeover in full effect when the whole world was counting on her, and she delivered. Look at this right here. Oh my gosh, C22. Game time shot. And is Stephanie White celebrating? Is Stephanie White screaming, clapping her hands? No. And you're going to be like, Venom, don't worry. Stephanie White is locked in. All right, well, let's see when Kelsey Mitchell scores then. But anyways, there was nothing or nobody that could stop Caitlin Clark. So see, off ball with no...
Okay. What he's saying is Stephanie White act like nothing happened at all. No celebration. No reaction. That was Caitlin Clark time, that unbelievable three. Now, Kelsey Mitchell.
Screens again as Kelsey dribble Mitchell with a nasty ankle breaker. I cannot lie. As Stephanie White applauds and screams in excitement. So Caitlin Clark hitting a game-tying shot to send it to overtime didn't warrant that response for Stephanie White. But Kelsey Mitchell, and the move was nice right here. Also, oh my God. Look at Stephanie White. Oh my God. Look at the emotion from this coach right here. Holy, she's like, yeah, Kelsey. She almost had to be held back stepping on the court. Screaming, clapping. So much emotion. You would have thought Kelsey.
Anyway, go subscribe to Venom Reacts YouTube channel. Congrats, man. He just hit 50,000 subs, I believe I saw earlier today. That's pretty eye-opening. She's blatantly, I'm loving Kelsey Mitchell hitting big shots. Caitlin Clark, benign. No response. Nothing. But she's quick to chew Caitlin Clark's ass out on the side of the court. She's quick to yank her out of the game. Look, Caitlin Clark obviously is the kind of shooter that when she hits a couple of shots in a row, she needs to stay in, and they need to ride her until she goes cold. She don't need to hit a couple of threes like she did in the first quarter, and she's getting hot, and then Stephanie White yanks her out of the game. This is not the coach you're looking for. I don't think it's the front office you're looking for. I don't think it's the leadership. You need some NBA people in here. Once again, I'm saying it. The difference in response from Caitlin Clark to Kelsey Mitchell tells you everything you need to know about what this coach believes this team should be built around. And she is wrong. If they did not ask her, did they even interview her or just give her the job because she's alumni? Because I would have said, what's your plan for Caitlin Clark? And it better have been, well, everything's going to run through Caitlin. Everything is going to run through Caitlin. If that's not the answer, we're moving on. I got to give Christy Sides credit. She knew it. She had it figured out by the last 15 games of the year in Caitlin Clark's rookie year. Shit, it's running through Caitlin. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.